Hello, this is Eric Jesse. This is Education 384. The assignment title for this one is Week 5 Social Studies Lesson Plan Implementation, Reflection, and Video. And today's date is September 30th, 2022. Jonah, thanks for coming out again. How are you doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. So, as you heard, tonight's lesson plan is based off social studies and literacy. So, a little different than what we've been doing, but should be a good lesson. Some new topics, which is always good. Before we kind of get into our reading and video, I just want to know your thoughts and overall opinion, I guess. What do you know about migration and immigration so far in your life?
Um, I'm From what I know
Mm-hmm.
so far is that it's like when people like change countries, I think, and go to a different country, like people immigrating to the U.S.
Yeah, there's definitely, some truth to what you said. There's a lot of different reasons people might migrate, a lot of different reasons people might immigrant to different countries. Um, so like I just said, that was one question I had before we got in. Why do people do it? There's many different reasons that people do it. Maybe opportunities, certain things are different in their life, maybe here compared to another country, just many different things. So we'll kind of get more into that topic. I've got a video that we're going to watch just about why do people migrate. So that'll kind of set the tone a little bit more for a reading that we're going to do here. So I will share my screen here with you. All right, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, of course it's not working. Let's see if I can find it on YouTube. Okay. I think this was the one I had. So, all right, can you see that?
Yep.
Hear it?
Yep.
All right. So obviously there's a lot of different topics there that video kind of touched on. The one that kind of stood out to me right away was the war aspect of why people migrate. Obviously, with the Russia and Ukraine thing that had happened a few months ago, that seemed to me like a lot of people migrated and immigrated because of that reason for obvious reasons. No one wants to be a part of that. Is there anything that changed maybe on your thought process after watching just that short little video?
Um, yeah, a little bit. I learned more about like why people do it.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, like in general, like what makes people want to migrate.
Yeah, no doubt. There's a lot of different reasons. So just kind of interesting to see all those reasons that they haven't. And there's probably some more reasons even that they didn't list, if I had to guess. Okay, so next I have a book. It's like what we did last time, kind of. I have a YouTube video that I'm going to just read instead of listen to, just in case something happens, I guess, with audio and everything. So I will go ahead and share my screen again with you. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this book is by Dan Yaccario on All the Way to America. It's the story of a big Italian family and a little shovel. Okay, so we'll get it going here. Okay, so my great grandfather, Michele Lecaro, grew up on a farm in Sorrento, Italy. When he was a boy, his father gave him a little shovel so he could help tend the zucchini, tomatoes, and strawberries that his family sold in the village. They worked very hard, but were always very poor. And so, when he was a young man, Michelle left Italy and went all the way to America in search of new opportunities. Work hard, his father told him, handed him the little shovel, but remember to enjoy life and never forget your family, his mother said. She hugged him and gave him their few family photos and her recipe for tomato sauce. It was a long journey, and how different New York was from his tiny village in Italy. Like many immigrants passing through Ellis Island at the turn of the century, he was given a new name. Michelle Icaro was now Michael Yarcaro. He was happy to be in America, but never forgot his family in Sorrento. Those are some hard names to pronounce. Friends from home helped each other in his new country. Michael found work in a bakery owned by a man who had also come from Sorrento. Michael polished his little shovel till it shined and used it to measure out flour and sugar. Michael met Adeline, and soon they were married. They found an apartment in a neighborhood called Little Italy, where many other recent immigrants lived as well. They had 5 children and did their best to teach them to work hard, enjoy life, and love their family. Michael started his own business as a pushcart peddler and continued to use the little shovel, this time to measure out dried fruits and nuts. His oldest son was named Anello, but everyone called him Dan. Back then, children often had to leave school to help support their families. So from the age of 12, Dan worked for his father. When Dan grew up, he married Helen. These are my grandparents. Together, Dan and Helen opened a market. They sold all sorts of wonderful Italian food. Now the little shovel belonged to Dan, and he used it to measure out beans, macaroni, and olives. Dan had always dreamed of living in the country, so he and Helen bought a house with a big yard and raised a family there. He loved having everyone over for Sunday dinners. Dan's love of cooking led him to open a restaurant. He made pizza, eggplant, parmesan, and spaghetti, all with his grandmother's tomato sauce, of course. Dan's son Mike would help out in the kitchen after school. By now, the family was so large that celebrations were held at the restaurant. Everyone would come together to talk, laugh, and of course, eat. When Mike was a young man, he married Elaine. These are my parents. Mike opened a barbershop and he used a little shovel to pour rock salt all over the sidewalk whenever it snowed. I grew up in a big house in the suburbs, not far from my grandparents. We had a garden in the backyard, and I would help my father tend to the tomato plants. Every year, my parents would take my brother, my sister, and me to the feast of San Gennaro in Little Italy. We watched the parade, listened to Italian folk songs, and ate hot zappelli. I loved New York City. So when I grew up, I moved back to the city where my great grandfather Michel had lived. Work hard, my father told me as he handed me the little shovel, but remember to enjoy life. And don't forget to call your family, said my mother. I did work hard, and after a few years, I became an author and illustrator, creating books for children. Then I married Sue, and soon our son was born. He is named Michael after my father and great grandfather. Now I watch Michael and his sister Lucy work on our small terrace with this very same shovel that their great great grandfather brought all the way to America. We grow zucchini, tomatoes, and strawberries. I do my best to teach them to work hard, enjoy life, and love their family. Some pictures of the family, it looks like. Okay, so stop share. Okay, what stood out to that about that story to you? Obviously, that's a true story if you didn't know.
It was what stood out to me was how many more opportunities he had from because where the great grandfather was living originally, he couldn't. He had like limited opportunities, like being a farmer. But when he moved to the city, he had a lot more opportunities to do so.
Yep, no doubt about it. And his great great grandfather, great grandfather changed the life of his family for generations. So that was just crazy to think about that just by one person coming over, it affected that many people in his life. So yeah, that's a great story, true story. I guess for our exit ticket tonight, you kind of said it already, but biggest takeaway from the book, and then what is immigration and migration to you? So I guess what was another one of your biggest takeaways? Obviously, the one you had was really good, but
let's see. One of my other big takeaways, I guess, would be that um, they had that it could showed how many like lives it affected, sort of, and like it showed like how much everyone did from
Mhm.
like family.
Yeah, and they all use that same shovel to kind of do what their chores were, whether that be sprinkling the salt, whether that be zucchini, strawberry, measuring stuff. It's yeah, so it just changed everybody's life. And then lastly, what is immigration and migration to you?
Um, Now to me, it means like when you move countries and like to get a better life most of the time, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's like that video we watched previously. Immigration and migration is there to help people. They all do it for different reasons. So that's definitely a good answer. So is there any other questions you have with our discussion and lesson we just had?
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out and great job.